Let's go further. It says, according to the courts, from the clear provision of, okay, I've read that. Section 65 of 1999 Constitution makes itself subject to Section 66. And that when something is made subject to another, it means it is inferior to and controlled by the thing to which it is subject to. Just like a subject is always inferior to its head. Meaning everything in 65 is useless if you violate anything in 66. Okay. That the act of making a false document or altering a genuine one for the same to be used is what is called forgery. Have you heard it now, the definition of forgery?
Yes.
I said it yesterday. If my name ends with T and somebody adds H thinking it's a Telbet instead of a Telbet, and I deliberately or mistakenly use Tipex to clean or to add, it's become forged. So I am altering the original. That's why when you see error in your certificate, even when we are collecting our NYS certificate, they will say, check. If you find any error, call NYSC for correction.
Yes.
Because if you carry it like that and it implicates you, that's dangerous. So if you have your degree certificate today, if you have your master's degree certificate, if you have any kind of certificate and you check it and your name is not well spelled, don't help. And maybe it is just I, and you think you can just fix it there. After all, that is what it should be. The law said, no, if you try it, you have forged it.
Mm.
And so I have a problem with the fact that the logo on the certificate tendered by APC candidates to INEC and the logo of the one certified by the university are not the same. I also have a problem with the fact that 3 signatures signed the one he tendered to INEC and 2 signatures signed the one that was submitted, that was certified by the university. But someone might say, did the university issue it? Yes, the university was subpoenaed. The law firm in the US, the name of the law firm in the US who subpoenaed the university to produce everything in the record of this candidate were there. So he came. And it was this Enahoro of a guy, this law firm in Nigeria, that hired that law firm in the US. And that law firm was paid and they went to collect those things. So when APC come to the court to defend their candidate saying that he attended university, no problem. Nobody at my level here, I am not saying that he did not attend the university. I am not saying that he did not earn the degree. I am only saying that maybe if what the university tendered as the original, as their copy is different, maybe he fell into the hand of the Yahoo boys. Is that a good thing to say? Yes. And what does the law say when you fall prey to such Yahoo boys? Well, you may not go to jail for forgery, but you lose the prize of what you're chasing. That's the consequence. It says here, these are the way the court, these are statements from the court. It says forgery takes either of 2 forms. It could be the making of a false document, in which case there will be no genuine one to be tendered in order to make a comparison. The other form of forgery is altering a genuine document to be used as real. That is, that it was therefore incorrect to hold that to prove forgery, 2 sets of documents must be presented. The forged one and the genuine one. So it's immaterial. What if there is none existing in the first place? But you can see that in these 2 cases, both at the federal level for Labour Party prayers and even in Enugu State, that there were 2 available, the genuine one and the fake one. So the case is even so easy.
Yes.
It says, that it was therefore incorrect to hold that to prove forgery, two sets of documents, the forged one and genuine copy, must always be tendered, as this would amount to asking for the impossible. That's what the court says. According to the court, the best evidence to prove forgery of certificate is a report, not even a physical evidence, a report from the institution that purportedly issued it. That's the best way to prove that something is forged. So this is what this appeal court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria ruled. Guess when they ruled that? Guess when? 2019. Just 4 years ago. Okay? Just 4 years ago. And then, that's not all. Let's move on to the one that got to the Supreme Court. And that was the case that was so appalling. A gentleman was rehearsing, preparing to be sworn in the next day as the governor of Bayelsa State. 24 hours to that being sworn in, he got a call that Supreme Court has fired him. And it wasn't even his fault. It was the fault of his deputy. Now, what happened? The deputy governor has had 1,001 change of names. The name in the first school living certificate is altered and different from the one of the school certificate, which is SSE, not GCSE. I'm saying GCSE as if I'm in there, SSE. And, with all those things. So it says here, the funny thing here is that the 5-man panel of the Apex Court, in the unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Ejembi Eko, nullified the nomination and participation of the governorship candidate David Loin and his running mates. That was in November 19. (2019) election. Bayelsa State governorship election comes November. They nullified it. This particular judgment occurred in February 2020. Why? So the Apex Court, which is the Supreme Court, held that the running mate to the governor-elect submitted forged credentials. He submitted forged credentials to INEC. The court held that there was no connection between the name on the candidate's school living certificate and the first degree and the master's degree and the affidavit he swore. Just this confusion, just his name. The person is saying, this is me. But do you know the funny thing? The lower level, which is the high court, the trial court, condemned him and ruled against him in favor of PDP. They got to the appeal court. Appeal court nullified the one of the lower court. And then he went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court upheld the judgment of the High Court. What does that tell us? Appeal court is the election tribunal, is the election petitions court. Everything we are talking is Supreme Court. I think we should forget about whatever the judgment of this appeal court will give, because the judgment we're waiting for is the Supreme Court.
Yes.
They will either uphold or annul. That is it. It says, the Court of Appeal upturned the decision of the trial court and affirmed the candidature of Loin and his running mate. The Court of Appeal upturned the decision of the lower court, as I said, which means the trial court, the petition tribunal, actually ruled against him. The appeal court upturned that judgment. The Supreme Court upheld that judgment of the. What does that tell you? As you move up the ladder, it is either I accept the previous judgment or it is not accepted. So what is going to happen in Supreme Court is, will they accept whatever judgment that appeal court will give in the case of the presidential election, or will they reject it? Remember that in the case of Adeleke versus Oyetola, the trial court, which is the high court level, they threw away Adeleke, but the appeal court cancelled, upturned the judgment of the trial court, and the Supreme Court upheld the judgment of the appeal court. That's why Adeleke is a governor today. So that is it so far. These three cases are important.
I wanted to ask, why is it that this forgery of a thing is very common among our politicians? I don't know, it sounds so funny, as in, I don't know the kind of picture, that Nigeria portrays before the international community.
It did not
seeing
start
what
today.
is happening back home. This person forged, this person forged, this person forged. It's not really looking good at all.
It did not start today, but I mean, remember as far back as 1999, I don't know how young people were then, whether you're politically aware or conscious of what was happening in Nigeria, but the Speaker of House of Representatives in 1999, an intelligent young man, he actually I think he falsified his age because he was too young to go into politics. I think the minimum bar then was 30 years and he was 29. So he falsified his age. So you're saying why? Because they want to get the office. But then he also claimed that he went to Toronto University in Canada. He was jailed, you remember? He was jailed, which means he indeed forged it. First, he lost the office, and secondly, he went to jail. But Obasanjo pardoned him. And it has always been like that going. But why, like you say this, the bar is so low. Why do you need to? Who are you trying to impress? Right? Just like the person who came to bamboozle the Labour Party councils in courts, claiming that he's a lawyer practicing in the US. You could see few questions thrown at him. He just felt like a pack of cards. Do we necessarily?
But do you think increasing the qualifications for one to become a presidential candidate, do you think that will remedy this kind of scenarios that is playing out?
To be honest, like I just said now, but the bar is so low. I mean, if you increase the qualification, that will actually tempt people to forge that qualification. The bar is so low. It's already so low. With your first school leaving certificate, meaning primary 6, you're qualified. And if you didn't do primary 6, you can say in this country, I didn't go to school at all. However, I have personally developed myself.
Yeah.
And these are the ways I've developed myself. If you went through the military, they know that as a second lieutenant from Nigerian Defense Academy, you are like, I don't know if it is a BSc level, because Nigerian Defense Academy is like a military university. So if you're graduating, you're coming out as a second lieutenant. So you're more or less a bachelor degree holder. It's just this lust for people going for what they don't have. That's why we hear in Nigeria, professor, doctor, engineer, all this. Even me, sometimes I have to begin to include in my name doctor. Sometimes I live in a society where nobody cares whether you're a doctor or not. It is the output of your work that amounts. But you people want to come to, I feel more relaxed when you say, Mr. Ethel, or Ethel. The moment you start putting that doctor, it's not as if I'm not qualified. Look, I'm a well-read person and I'm proud of myself. I have my first degree in engineering, electronics engineering. I did my youth service afterwards. I went to University of Nigeria. I got a postgraduate diploma in public relations. I came to London. I got a master's degree in business and strategy, and I came out with distinction. And then I proceeded to do my PhD in one of the top universities in the world. And I'm proud of that. But that is immaterial. If I want to come and vie for an office in Nigeria today, I'll probably just give you my first school leaving certificate. so that I could be quiet. Let my input and contribution speak for me. You know, one person I respect so much in Nigeria today is who is this guy that is producing car in Nigeria, in Anambra State?
Innocent.
Innocent. The day I listened to him, oh my goodness, I was calling my friend and said, why is it that all the universities in Nigeria are not giving this guy honorary doctorate degree? He's so intelligent. He's so smart. Now, when he speaks English, you could see his terms and co. Chinese people don't speak English. He doesn't need to speak good English. The guy is a genius. Oh my goodness. If I float the university today, I will give him a honorary doctorate degree because people need to research him to get doctorate degree. He is a material, he is a brain in Nigeria that people need to research his philosophy and the ideology. And if you can research his philosophy and ideology, you should be given and write a thesis to back it up. You should be given a doctorate degree. And that is where the idea of honorary doctorate degree comes, because you have distinguished yourself in a certain area that even though you didn't go through formal university, the people who went through formal university are not better than you in that area. But today, all you just need is a few cash, and the universities are calling you, awarding you doctor. Some people are even ready to answer doctor, because 3 universities are ready to give them honorary.